Job. Duty sing.
That's actually not necessarily.
Judy, do you have a spare copy of the list? Because while I actually printed it out, I realised I then forgot to take it. Which is that code?
Actually, we won't.
Oh, that's right. The photocopiers.
It's like unplugged.
Yes.
Way. Yes. Okay, you'll wing it.
Actually, you know what I can do is, at least for Shabbat, I'll take screenshots of it.
איפה הטלפון שלך?
Inside, yeah.
Oh, wait, where's the pushka?
Oh, it's
All right, so here, I'm going to put the pushka. I'm going to move this out of the way. I don't care about looks.
Here, Jonah, wait for Mummy. Wait for Mummy. Whoosh.
Okay, I'm going to our cabinet. Is he okay on the stairs?
Yeah, you can do stairs.
You're so big. Jonah, you're so big. Look.
Hi. We announced it 6 minutes after, so we should probably get that. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We will begin momentarily.
Rabbi Yarka.
Ooh, yes, we will remove our masks because we are in the booths, the plexiglass booths of yesteryear, so that we can be able to smile at you.
So now that Jonah has walked up and down the stairs,
I think it's still masks on because you're 6 feet kind of within each other.
mask policy, and that is not on. Hopefully they'll turn it on for tomorrow, which is really what I requested it for. I know, that's good.
Anywho, I believe we're going to start with Shalom Alechem, which is just that wonderful opening kavanah, really, that says, welcome everyone, peace be upon you. And that is to be found if you're clutching this Siddur, the Lev Shalem. That's on page 5, I believe.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oy, oy, oy. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh
Baruch Hu, Boachem l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ay ay ay, Boachem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Nil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Nil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ay ay Baruch Hu, Nil Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem l'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem l'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ay ay ay, Tzedchem l'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We'll continue now on page 11 with Lechu Neranenah.
Lechu Neranenah l'Adonai, Nari aletzor yishenu, Nekat mafanav b'todah, Bizmirot nari alo, Nekat mafanav b'todah, Bizmirot nari alo. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei haaretz, v'toafot harim lo. Asher beyado mechkerei haaretz, v'toafot harim lo. Asher lo yam v'yotzahu v'yamashayim v'yotzahu Arba'im shana akut b'dor, va'omaram to'e levavim, v'im lo yadu derachai, asher nishbati be'api, im yevo'un el menuchati. Lai lai na nai nai, la lai lai, hai lai la lai lai, hai na nai na nai nai nai. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, barech u'shmo, basru miyom liyom, Yeshuato, sapru vagoyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai, umulal meyot, norau, al kol Elohim, ay, 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 כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה, הוד והדר לפניו עוז ותפארת במקדשו, הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, אוי הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, אוי הבו לאדוני ככבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו, איי איי איי, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, יפתח תיכון תבל בל תימוד, ידין עמים במישרים, אוי ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, אוי ירם הים ומלואו יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, איי איי איי, אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק וימים באמונתו, ינאי נאי נאי, איי לי 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 לי, ay ay lai lai lai, ay lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai.
Page 15, Adonai Malach, and I believe we have
Adonai Malach tagel haaretz, ישמחו עם רבים, ענן וערפל סביבם צדק ומשפט מכון כיסו.
We're shortly going to be on page 16, and I believe we're going to sing Or Zaruach.
Or Zaruach לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה, or zarua la'tzadik uleishre lev simcha, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezecher kodsho, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai vehodu lezecher kodsho, yanai 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 yanai, ay lai 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 ay nai 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 ay lai.
It is Lecha Dodi time, my lovelies.
Did you tune your mic up?
Is that better?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is that better? Lecha Dodi time. It is on page 23, and that final verse we'll rise and we will bow and greet the Sabbath presence. And someone can have snacks if they choose.
Hi, Jonah. Yam badai nai nai lecha dodi, lai 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 likrat kalai. Yam badai nai 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 penei Shabbat nekabela. Yam badai nai 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 lecha dodi, lai 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 likrat kala. Yam badai nai 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 penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, penei שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך לך דודי דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה קומי צעיר מתוך ההפיכה רב לך שבר בימי כבך והוא יחמול עלייך אלה לך לך דודי דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה נערי ויפת קומי לבשי בגדי תפארתך עמי על יד בן ישי בית הלך מקורבה אל נפשי גלה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי בעורק קומי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נקרא לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקלמי בת תשתוכחי ומתמי בך יחסו עניי עמי ונבנתה עיר על תילה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה והיו למשיסה שוסייך ורחקו כל לב עלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כי כסוס חתן על כלה לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה ימים שמותי פרוצי את אדוני תריצי אל יריש פן פרצי ונשמחה ונגירה לך דודי לך דודי Shalom, Segula, Bo'ichala, Bo'ichala. Lecha, Dodi, Lecha, Dodi, Likrat Kala, Enei Shabbat, Nekabela, Yalai, 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 Yalai,
Woohoo! Shabbat Shalom to one and all. Thanks for joining in there. I hope a lot of us got that less familiar tune by the end. It's a Joshua Shorsky, gorgeous tune. I didn't know it very well, and now I do, so bring it on for next week. We're going to continue now with the psalm for Shabbat. Now that we've welcomed the Sabbath, we can really give her the psalm that she deserves. It's on page 27.
Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot, lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer leshimecha elyon, Tov lehodot, lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatcha baleilot, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נע ועלי...
Page 28.
Tzadik ata amari frach ke'erez balvanon yizke shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun b'seiva deshenim vera'ananim yiyu lehagid ki ashar Adonai tsuri tsuri velo avla tabo.
Toda Rabbah to Cantor Aronoff for a beautiful Kabbalat Shabbat. I have a, if you want to take it kind of thing for all the many people in the sanctuary. Would anyone like to be the one to light the Shabbat candles? You can be any gender, it doesn't matter. But if you're someone that says, I want to bring some light right now into my life and just help us out, you're welcome to. If not, one of us can do it. But I love a bit of participation from the community. So if someone wants to step forward, we can say the blessing together, so you're not even on the spot for leading the blessing. But we're talking about someone maybe who likes fire pretty. You can just make the flames for us. And we'll all say the blessing, we'll stand together, and it will just be on behalf of us here and also all those watching on Facebook and YouTube at home. Anyone? You can even do it as a team. Anyone? You don't have to have a kippah on. We'd rather you do it, and we know that God is here and in your heart. So please rise if you can, as we welcome Shabbat in a tangible way with more light.
Amen.
Amen. That was so beautiful, and I love that tune. Thank you so much. So please take a seat. It's an interesting parsha this week, and I just wanted to say a few words and really start with something that I love that's very dear to my heart. Shakespeare. As well, most of you know by now, British. I was also an English major undergrad. I got to study a lot of Shakespeare. And, you know, if I had to choose one play that's my favorite, particularly when I'm in a slightly darker mood, it's Othello. Because evil fascinates me. A charismatic baddie is absolutely something that I am here for and I adore. And there are baddies in many Shakespeare plays, but I think Iago reigns supreme. We're not talking a Lady Macbeth or any other villain that I won't even name because there's too many ones, and some of them are wonderful and meaty, but Iago takes just so much pleasure in his soliloquies. And scholars, Shakespearean scholars over the centuries have argued, what is his motive? And he himself offers up several over the course of the play, but they tend to contradict each other, and none of them actually hold real water because they seem to change, and the lines he says kind of don't even lean into them. The obvious one is jealousy. He's just jealous for who even knows. You know, Othello is promoted, he's just jealous, he's got a beautiful wife, Desdemona, like the local hottie, and he doesn't seem to be quite so pleased with his missus. There's another option, which is betrayal. Betwixt my sheets, Cassio has done my office. He thinks that one of the soldiers he's going to frame actually had some special intimate times with his wife, but it's only mentioned once, it's never proven, and it doesn't quite hold water because all the other times that Iago tries to bring down Othello, it doesn't even come up. And yes, then there's also the socio-economic critique, which is, well, Othello's black, and maybe it's a racism that Iago doesn't want there to be a black man in command at the top, the person who's commanding the army. However, why is it that Iago takes down all the other characters with him, including his own wife? And while he definitely mocks the idea of Othello's blackness and wants him to be reduced, there are so many other times where, again, he's giving these other reasons. And ultimately, our scholars arrive at the conclusion, and again, it's still up for you, it's up to debate, that Iago suffers from motiveless malignancy. He doesn't have a motive and he doesn't care. He's just evil and he wants to let the world burn. And here's why that's relevant to me with my eyes when I read this week's Torah portion. Chapter 31, verse 2 says, "Avenge the vengeance of the children of Israel," i.e., wreak havoc upon those who hurt Israel, upon, and wait for it, here's the enemy we're naming, the Midianites. Now, if you read back to the previous incident, yes, the Midianites did stuff that was bad, but really it was the Moabites as well. For the Moabites and the Midianites both lead the Israelites astray with idolatry and adultery. So the scholars say, why only the Midianites? Rashi offers up a really cute thing, which is, well, we don't want to kill the Moabites because Ruth, who's going to produce King David, so we need them to stay alive because God can see the future. But why then just the Midianites? Because that's quite a weak argument. Well, the Hebrew word for Midian can be strife, divisiveness, baseless hatred even. And sure enough, there is another commentator that picks up on the fact that the Moabites, well, they had gotten involved in taking down Israel because they feared Israel. And fear is an acceptable motivation. It's primal, it's about self-defense, it's terror, and most of us act in fear and do horrible things. However, the Midianites entered a fight that was not theirs. They had nothing really to gain or lose from it. They just wanted to pick a fight because in their hearts they had baseless hatred. They were Iago. Ooh, let's sabotage, let's manipulate, let's hurt and destroy using our women. And that is where I see Iago in the text. And also really where the commandment, I think, comes to teach us something, which is simply that it's okay to have a Moabite reaction to something, to do something based in fear. It's not optimal, but you're forgiven and you're not told revenge, blot out, hurt and destroy, because that's normal. Because really these enemies, they're not real, they're symbols. And what we're told to do though, is that when we find that Midianite cause, that need to just kind of pull at strings and see what happens and hurt and gossip, and not really from a place of actual deep hurt, but wanting to cause hurt just due to spite. That is our task, our holy task, to blot that out and to try to crush that instinct, because that's what's really harmful, just bringing strife when there's enough already. So I just encourage all of us, not that we should ever do awful things in this world, but when mistakes happen, when we're in that dark place, when we do act, let it at least have a motive behind it. Shabbat Shalom. And with motive, let's pray now. Let's do some more singing and praising Shabbat, God and community. We're going to continue on page 39B. No, let's do 39A. It's the Baruch Hu, so please rise if you can. We're going to face east.
Lai, 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 lai. Lai, lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Na, 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 lai, 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 lai. Lai, lai, lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam leolam va'ed. Lai, 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 la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 na, lai, 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 lai.
We can take a seat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chol ha'ariv ha'ramim ha'madoteh ha'sharim v'vipnim ha'seitim v'chudam.
Umavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzvaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamidim lo chaleinu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Amen. We're continuing with Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael on page 40.
V'avatcha tasir mimenu leolamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi netzavecha hayom alevavecha ve'shinantam levanecha ve'dibarta bam ve'shivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה עם שמוע תשמעו מצוותיו.
We'll just chant the second and third paragraph of the Shema to ourselves, and that can be found on page 42. The answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Adonai Elohechem emet ve'emunah kazov v'kayim aleinu. Hoseh gedolot Adonai minim lo nemizparas al nafsheinu b'chayim. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe uMiriam uvnei Yisrael lechanu shira besimcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora teilot o seifelet Nora teilot o seifelet malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe zeili anu v'yamru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Ne'emar ki Adonai et Yaakov u'ge'alo mi'ad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
On page 45, we find Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom, V'ha'amidenu Malkeinu L'chaim, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right, Adonai. Amen. 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 Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 46.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, שבס לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, שבס לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ביום השביעי. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
V'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol be'Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imeru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'le'omei omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu li'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yolama Veimeru, Amen.
We've reached our silent Friday night Amidah, that little quiet, sacred, safe space to pray your own prayers quietly to yourself. You're welcome to use the Hebrew or the English, or just take these few precious minutes of silent devotion. Connect to your soul, your higher power. Feel that gratitude that it's Shabbat. Let go of the week. Stand if you can for this, and we will be coming together for an Oseh Shalom afterwards. If you want to follow the prayer book, it's on page 47 to 52. Take your own time.
And reminder, it is Rosh
That's
Chodesh.
right, yes, Nachon, there's the Ya'alev Yavo paragraph for Rosh Chodesh. We're there, it's Rosh Chodesh. Toda Rabba, Jerome.
Oseh Shalom bimromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav Uya'aseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen. Yamanai nai 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 Yanai nai 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 Yanai nai 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 Yamanai nai 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 Yanai nai 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 Yanai nai 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 Oseh shalom imroma Uya'aseh shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel Ve'imru Amen. Yitkara v'yikara Shemei Rabbah
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yirutevim lichmachutei b'chayachonu v'mechonu v'chaydacha beit Yisrael Ba'agala v'zman kariv imeru Amen. Yeshmei Rabbah mevorach Li'olam u'li'omei omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpor v'yitramam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitala shmeidu kudesha Brichu li'eila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran v'yama v'imeru Amen. Titkabel tzaloton uvaton docha Yisrael kodam avuhon v'yishmaya v'imeru Amen. Yesh lam rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imeru Amen. Aseh shalom bimromav Hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imeru Amen.
Page 55, we have reached Kiddush, and it is so lovely to live in person and not just with Kiddush cup emojis, but with actual Kiddush cups. Jack is passing around the grape juice. Feel free to take several cups to all those who are here. And please drink at home with us if you are watching virtually. Page 55.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemaaseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. If you want seconds, there are seconds if you would like. And yes, we're risen, so let's stay aroused. That's not the word. Let us stay arisen for Aleinu on the subsequent page. It's page 56.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotze breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol amonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומשב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד כן נקבל לך אדוני תגידו לממך אדוני ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
On page 58, we have Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. If you're at home and you're watching through Facebook, feel free to share the name or names of those who you are saying this prayer in honor of. We want to extend our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Aviva Scotland. The funeral was this afternoon. And also to the family and friends of Doris Hellman. That funeral will be this Sunday. And as again, there's not too many of us in the room. If you would like to share the name or names of those who you are saying this Kaddish for, please feel free to do so. You can just hold them in your heart before we recite the prayer, but I want to create that space. So if anyone wishes to. Anyone else? Please rise if you can as we recite Kaddish Yatom, page 58. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'le'omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May their memories be a blessing to us and sustain us through our grief. So take a seat, please. We just have a couple of announcements, and then it is a Yigdal, I believe, unless Cantor Aronoff has a last-minute change of heart and wishes to offer up something else, but Yigdal is locked and loaded into our service order. So just a couple of events to highlight. This time next week, please come. It is Nuranana. It is our live musical big band Shabbat, and that's going to be at 6 p.m. But if you want to come at 5 p.m., there is spaghetti and story time. Rabbi Schuldenfrei is a wonderful storyteller, and this is a very family-friendly event. But you're encouraged to come, even if you are an older soul and you don't have any children, you're still welcome to borrow mine and have spaghetti. So I do think we need you to RSVP for that, just so we know how much spaghetti to have. But again, please feel free to stay for some or all of that. And again, just an announcement for those at home, we are now live in person on Friday night, so you're welcome to come. I've seen so many people online, and it might be that we've only just started since July having live services every morning and every evening, not just Shabbat. So don't be shy, come on down, there's plenty of grape juice left for you. Which also leads me to thank a couple of people. I want to thank David Kamener for tinkling the keys so beautifully. It's so nice to get to have him back, because when we were virtual, that didn't get to happen. We also want to thank Cantor Judy Aronoff for leading all of services so beautifully. And we want to thank Jack for passing around the Kiddush cups and collecting them. And Deborah, we want to say thank you for lighting the candles. That was brave and beautiful of you. So thank you for helping bring light into our lives. And I think finally to Brent Yarkin, the husband of me, who did child control. That's like pest control, but with a child, with a toddler.
But wait a second, we also have to thank Jonah for brightening up the room. Hi, Jonah.
Jonah, we're saying thank you, Jonah, for not hurting yourself or anything else.
And thank you, Rabbi Yarkin, for your devar.
Thank you. It's such a lovely thing just to be here in the sanctuary again. And again, toda rabah for just going along with all of the restrictions and the things that we're asking people to do. As you've noticed, last week we had the clergy in masks, but not in a glass box of protection. This week we've brought the glass box of protection back, but it means that when we're in here, we're not wearing masks, but we still ask that you do so inside. But if you're vaccinated when you go outside, you don't have to be masked when there's Kiddush around especially. There's emails that go out. I know it's been confusing, but we just ask everyone to bear with us as we really try to just make sure everyone is safe and sound. So without further ado,
Yigdal.
Yigdal. Page 62.
Yigdal Elohim chai ve'yishtabach nimtza v'yenei tel metziuto echad v'yen yachid ke'yichudo נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו. הינו אדון עולם לכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומביט את תמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו על יד נביאו נאמן, ביתו לא יכל לפעל ולא ימיר דתו לעולמים, לזולתו צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומל איש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפתור נחכה קץ ישועתו. Meitim Yechayel Berov Chasto Baruch Hadeyan Shem Tehilato Meitim Yechayel Berov Chasto Baruch Hadeyan Shem Tehilato. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Have a safe journey home, and we'll see you again at 9:30 a.m. for Shabbat morning and Rosh Chodesh.
David, that was so much fun. I want to do it again.